we're in control.
I am in control.
Hello, and welcome to Let's Talk Spoop. I'm your host, Don, and with me today is Jeremiah.
Hi, guys. We have another one of these crazy movies that are coming out. So when you see this, this is day of release. So you can actually watch it, buy it, look at it. It's called Prototype. And I think, though we'll probably laugh a whole lot less than we did last time, I think this one might be more of your alley.
Yeah, so when Jeremiah emailed me about this one, it threw me off because Prototype was the name of one of the schools I had to attend in my military career. So I was like, why is he emailing me about school? And I was like, oh, right, it's a movie. So anyway, as per usual on Let's Talk Spoop, we break things down into 6 separate categories. Those 6 separate categories are story, acting, music, atmosphere, look, and finally creep. So, yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into Prototype. Last time I covered the story, so Jeremiah, you want to go ahead and cover the story this time?
Okay, I will go as per what is written on IMDb, so it doesn't go too far. Okay. Well, basically, this is nearish future. There are lifelike androids, artificial intelligence been created to help people with household tasks. As far as I know, it's just in the household tasks. Prototype, there's one called One, created by Roger, and it's being tested by his family. Basically, honestly, he uses it as a way to be lazy, I guess, and to keep his family controlled. Proves to be popular but flawed. They say this, but they don't necessarily show it. Roger has been working on a new one called Two, very sneaky name, whose improved features show promise of his superhuman abilities. As tension rises between Roger and his wife Shelley, the androids malfunction, supposedly, and the lives of the whole family are soon in danger of Two's sinister plans. For me, the story works. I'm not going to say it's an amazing story. It's nothing that we've not seen before. Think of the whole plot of iRobot with less money, essentially. But it does work. The story itself, I will say, works just fine. I will give the story a 3. A 3, yes. What about you?
Yep. So in the opening, we see Zero, who's essentially the Prototype, straight up cack a lady. That's the beginning of the movie. So it's like he walks in, and she's like, "Oh, what are you doing, lady?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm just finishing up some paperwork. Zero, don't worry about it." And he's like, "Yeah, sure you are." Death. I think he crushes her skull, if I remember correctly.
Something
And then
like
later we get the introduction of Two, and Two's line, they're like talking about all the benefits, and Two's line is, "I have specifically been designed not to overthrow humanity." And then they're like, "Yeah, we programmed her with a humor function." And it was just like an awkward silence. It was really great. There's some things I really liked about this because, like Jeremiah said, it's not a terribly original story, but they did do some minor differences from what you would expect from a storyline like this, which is why I also gave it a 3 out of 5 for story.
Acting. Okay, this is one where we could be divisive. So acting in this movie, I had to say, this is a low-budget movie, okay? They do the best with what they have. There are not a lot of actors in this movie. There is no one I recognize in this movie, though I think the mom looked somewhat familiar, though it might just be generic white blonde woman. But
generic white blonde woman do look
as far as acting goes, 2 of the actors are so terrible, I want them to die. They're just despicable people with, like, no redeeming qualities to them. Anyone who you just see for a scene or so are also pretty terrible.
Oh, like the kid that was doing the YouTube videoing. That
and
guy,
like the pizza boy, or the FedEx guy.
Yeah.
But there's a little girl who's solid, which is impressive because a lot of little kids are really hard to get them to act well. The androids themselves do pretty good for what they have. So the acting itself is pretty mixed. The main character, or the dad, I should say, Roger, he's awful. He's a terrible human being and an awful actor. His son is also pretty terrible. Like, the note was be terrible.
Yeah, I think that's all they did there. Is like, hey, we're gonna give you some lines, and we just want you to be as dickish as humanly possible while you deliver these lines.
And then the mom is kind of interesting. She either has the best makeup job ever because she can like cover up wounds that are there one scene, and the next scene there's like nothing, or I just don't care. But as far as acting goes, I'm giving the acting a 3 because for the people that need it most do well enough to make it work, and the ones that are terrible are not terrible enough that it like sinks everything. There's not a lot of actors in this movie, but the ones that matter most, the androids, do pretty well.
Yeah,
especially since they are practical, so they have to actually act it.
Yeah, so yeah, I agree. So I thought that with the small cast, they were really able to focus on the actors, and really a lot of the driving in this movie is the acting of the robots who are being played to be monotonous. And I thought that was just really, really well done. I give it a 3.5 for acting, because I was like so blown away by the portrayal of the robots and the little girl. Because as Jeremiah said, like, child actors are not good. So like for a child actor to like portray that role so well, I gave it a pretty good score. So 3.5 out of 5 skulls for acting. Music, I've got nothing to report on the music. I gave it the generic 2.5 that I always give it on music. What do you think, Jeremiah?
I give the music a 3 because honestly, I found the music rather unsettling. Like, I will never hum anything in music. I actually don't remember a bar, but I do remember the music itself was unsettling throughout, and it might be that my ear was blasting into my headphones, my earphones, but it was unsettling, and I think for this type of movie that is appropriate. No, there's no sweeping themes, no like high budget music. This is like a John Carpenter type, like he did it himself on a keyboard type thing, but it works and it is unsettling.
For real. Atmosphere. I found the atmosphere to be really good, really engaging. It made you really want to know what was going to happen. It really played with your, like I said earlier when I was talking about story, it really plays with your expectations, because the story's not original. So like the way that they portrayed it really kept me involved with the story. So again, I gave it a 3.5 on atmosphere. Jeremiah?
I gave this one a little higher on atmosphere because this is where I'm going to rank it higher. I gave it a 4 on atmosphere because that's what it entirely is. The music is creepy, and you just, with the music tied in with the way it's filmed, everything is filmed in a very tight shot. There's really, I don't think there's a single wide shot in this entire movie. They don't have a lot of set locations. It's all in these
scene where it's like literally shot from like underneath the arm for the first punch that's thrown, and you're just like, whoa, like that was really cool. I thought interesting. They do some interesting play with where they angled the cameras. The same reason I like See No Evil with Kane so much, which I love that movie. So everybody sound off in the comments. But See No Evil with Kane was a really well done slasher film for the same reason, because of the way that it was filmed. And this movie was definitely filmed really well.
And so I gave this one a 4 for atmosphere, which, you know, for a movie as low budget as this one, it lives or dies on the way that's filmed. And I think it works really well. I'm going to look to see who actually filmed this. The director. Okay. The director filmed this one. Jack Peter Monday, who has also made Dinosaur Hotel, as we looked at before, and Amityville Scarecrow. I'm going to see what he filmed, though. Filming is what really matters. He's filmed...
I am going to review Amityville Scarecrow at some point.
He did film everything from Rise of the... Oh, I saw Rise of the Mummy. Leprechaun's Game, Cannibal Troll. Oh, that sounds classic.
Is Rise the one that you reviewed a couple weeks
ago? No,
back?
not the Chinese one. Rise of the Mummy is one of the ones that you like find in like ones that look like there's something you should definitely watch, and then you're like, wait, nope, this is like a $10 version of that movie.
Yeah, like Transmorphers and Transformers.
Yes. But he definitely shows he has some skill filming, because it lived or died off that, and it worked. It worked. Now, I'm not gonna say this is like an amazing movie that way, but it worked. This is not like the guy who filmed Dune, okay? No, but it worked for this. So I gave it a 4. Yes, I gave it a 4.
Look, Jeremiah.
This film shows its budget, not the same way as the last movie we saw showed its budget. It doesn't rely on CGI. This is practical. The androids are practical. It's like a headpiece and a bodysuit. And the headpiece is kind of cool. You have stuff in the back, you have lights on it, but it shows its budget because one of the most unsettling things about this movie that creeped my kids out is you see human eyes in the android mask. And sometimes you see teeth and tongue. And number one, especially, it looks honestly, for me, it kind of looked like the skin mask that they wear in like the Leatherface movie. It's creepy, and that's part of the unnerving part we got in Atmosphere. But I can't count the look as being great. I appreciate the practical effects. It is not killing. It doesn't use the CGI, but it's clearly filmed in like 6 different rooms total. Yeah, there's not a lot of different locations, and the androids though themselves look good. They're clearly, it's a mask and a bodysuit because you see the human hands, you see the eyes, and though that makes it unnerving, it's not good. It's just not detrimental. So I gave Look a 2.
That's fair. I disagreed on this one. I felt that the uncanny valley feel of the androids' faces was just a phenomenal choice. Like, I feel like that was the thing that they did on purpose, especially because the little girl comments on it, where she's like, they should give you more human faces so you can show smiles and stuff. And he's like, I don't think your dad would be down for that. But, like, just that kind of look of their face being just so almost, like, purposefully almost lifelike, but not. I really loved it. And that's really about the only special effects to talk about. I think there's a little bit of blood, and that's about it. So
there is a scene where an android stabs a FedEx guy in the face, and like that pencil is like clearly just on the other side of his head. Like there's no blood. It's just like there, and he's like, like, dude, yeah, you couldn't afford a squib.
I gave it a 3 for Look. I liked it. So, yeah, 3. And then finally we get to Creep. This movie is not creepy. It's good. I enjoyed it. But I wasn't scared. I wasn't really creeped out aside from the uncanny faces, right? So it wasn't really a creepy movie, except for the fact that they all had mannequin faces, and mannequins are creepy by definition. So I give it a 2 out of 5 for Creep. Jeremiah?
I gave it a 3 out of 5 for Creep because a mix of the music, which I've already said was unsettling, the faces are very unsettling throughout. And since those are the two main things throughout this story, I will give it a 3, knowing that it's budget limitations.
Yeah, for a low budget film, this was really great for a low budget film.
Now, these are not mannequins kind of like what you have in Silent Hill, where like those nurses move around and you're like, I'm going to go die right now. Those are like 5 out of 5 creepy things. Actually, if I were to rate Silent Hill, that'd be a 5 out of 5 for creep anyway, because it's just creepy. Entirely just creepy.
The original or the video game?
They both have incredible creep in them. Not very good otherwise, but they're creep.
I mean, you can't talk bad about Scene Bean.
But I gave it a 3, which makes it so my total score came out as a whole number, which is amazing. So I give it that's a 3 out of 5 for this movie, based on the fact that it is a low budget movie. I'm not saying this is one. If I saw this in a theater, I might actually rank it lower because I don't know. Those faces might be terrible on a big screen, or it might be amazing. I don't know, but
you should put it up on your projector at home and just see how it turns out.
Maybe put it on my projector outside and see my neighbors going, what is that?
Coincidentally, I also got a 3 out of 5 for Prototype, so it looks like it's a solid 3 out of 5 movie.
And I will say one thing about this one is I appreciate how they tried to make their androids all distinct. Yes, they clearly, it's like clearly on a human, and the human clearly has to do the acting. It's not CG'd. But like one of them, like two's look is like kind of like Phantom of the Opera-esque, like
Yeah.
the white mask. One, as I said, looks like Leatherface flesh mask. Um, I appreciate that, and I appreciate how they try to add all these little gears and things and lights on the back. I think that worked, and I think what could have helped this movie be better would be if the family was actually not a bunch of terrible people that you actually cared about.
I like the girl. She was
The dad apparently is in other things, but I think it would definitely have helped if the family had a bit stronger, other than the girl. If you actually cared about them. Like I'm looking at like some of them, like, oh look, one of them's in Curse of Humpty Dumpty. What the heck is that? I have no idea. It exists now though. But I do think I will applaud them for what they were trying to do for this one and what they ended up doing. I think it works. And for a cast this small, like the cast is tiny. I think they're worth of some applaud. Though I will say that the boy, he has like a Pennywise type face. I was trying to figure out where I've seen him before, and believe it or not, I have seen him in something recently, like the teenage boy,
the son.
or the son. You know where we just saw him?
I got it pulled up on IMDb right here.
We just saw him in Jurassic Island.
No way.
And he was in a movie that I remember seeing not that long ago called Arthur and Merlin, Knights of Camelot. Came out a couple years ago. And he's into Division 2. But yeah, he was just in Jurassic Island.
What? Well, that's coincidental.
He's Jacob in Jurassic Island.
Jacob. Is that the boyfriend?
Mm-hmm.
The only male character, I guess. That's fair.
So it's interesting. He's also in a movie that I saw not that long ago called It Came From Below. It was terrible, but I expected it to be. Therefore, I was not disappointed. And a World War II movie called We Go In at Dawn. But yeah, so Prototype, 3 out of 5 from both of us. That's actually, I don't think we've ever had scores that agree, and let alone whole numbers.
Yeah, right. Very seldom we get whole numbers. So I would recommend
Jack Peter Mundy did pretty good.
I would recommend it to anybody who's looking for a nice, low budget, low key, creepy movie.
May I present Prototype 2.0?
A maid, a babysitter, an assistant.
If this android can fulfill the social dimension of being human,
Nice.
then what more could it be capable of?
The possibilities are endless.
It's my privilege to be spending time with your family.
Pretty soon, I won't even need you anymore.
I want to make sure that we're in control.
I am in control.